Hello and welcome back. So it's time for August's mission inspiration, and as you can see, we're hotting things up for summer. So August's prompt is heat and heart. So it's all about passion and honesty and owning your own light. So the ingredients to include for your page this month are deep red or the colour magenta, heart, so literal or abstract hearts, fires, flames, or some kind of light source. Even if it's a lighthouse, that's allowed. Photo fragment, and stitches or faux stitching. So there we go. So I've already gone through my collection of colours and I've pulled out three kind of reds. I didn't want all kind of dark reds and I didn't want all kind of light reds. Excuse me. I would have a drink somewhere. Let's just go grab it. There we go. So I've got Tuscan red, I've got cherry red, and I've actually got apricot blush, which is a kind of lighter red, which is gonna allow us to give some of those kind of highlights without getting too dark. So for my background, I've got two half pages, if you like, from a very old it's a prayer book, a book of common prayer that was falling to pieces and was going to go in a skip at a local chapel when it was closed down a few years ago, and they had all the books rescued for a second life. So there you go. So I've got some matte medium, so we're going to just stick these down onto the page just to give it a little bit of background texture. You could use music, you could use dictionary pages, you could just use a page from an old book if you wanted, or an old atlas, or anything like a gazetteer. You could even use knitting patterns or sewing patterns if you wanted to. It's just something to add texture into that background. So I'm just spread a little bit of that matte medium down. Again, it is like a very, very warm day today, so this stuff is drying super quick for me. I'll just go over the top, just add a little bit more down there. And then just work from the middle outwards, trying to get, it really is soaking into the page really quickly. So we're going to get a few bubbles. We're bound to get a few bubbles because it's drying too quick. But if you really wanted to, you could eliminate them once they got a little bit drier, just with a pin. Just pop them with a pin like you would do if you got bubbles in the wallpaper, because that's a really, really good trick. Is just pop them with a pin and then just squeeze the glue out. Alright, so what I like about these old prayer books or song books is the fact that they have got numbers all over them too, which is great for your backgrounds. See, that one's got virtually no wrinkles at all. Let's see if we can try and squidge a bit of that. No, it's not going to come out. That's okay. Right, so I'll just quickly go over the rest of those sections on the page, just so that they've been primed also. There we go. So that if we decide to move paint around later on, we'll get a similar effect all over. There we go. Straight into the water, give that a quick blast with the old heat gun. Alright, so that's nice and dry. So those bubbles have actually disappeared. It's tightened back up again once it's dried. So now I'm going to start adding bits of red paint. That should do. That's what happens when you shake up your pot before you use it. And grab some water. And then I'm just going to brush that round. God, that is really, really cherry red, isn't it? Really, really cherry red. So while that's still wet, and that's another reason for adding the matte medium down on the page, because it acts as a sealer on your page, which will allow you to be able to maneuver the paint while it's still wet. I'm going to grab some of that Tuscan red now. Just give the brush a quick rinse off. I'm not really bothered about it being too totally dry. Then I'm going to come back in with this more opaque paint, and then we just blend that around. That way it's breaking it all up. It's not, you're not getting the same tone in the background for the entire thing. It's not too flat. And we want kind of broken up. We want grungy. So I don't mind if you can see the brush strokes, that kind of stuff in the background. So again, put the lid back on that and then get that apricot. I don't want to add any pink into it. So I think the pink is going to be too much. Dry off my brush. Grab some of that apricot. You see what I mean about it being lighter and just adding a little bit more tone into that background, so it's not quite all red. It's still warm, it's still got that heat, but it's not necessarily all red. And if you wanted to, you could add the paint with a spatula. You could do it that way. There we go. So we've got quite a few different tones of red in that background. I think that's going to be good enough for us to start off with. We could add some browns around the edges just to kind of give it that frame if we wanted to. But we might do that with ink in a little while. So let me get that dried off. Not that it's going to take a long time. And then I'll be right back. All right, so now that's done, I want to add some kind of lighter tones into the background. And I've got my damaged damask stencil. Now I'm going to have to, I want to put some kind of like damask patterns in the background just to kind of grunge it up a little bit. And I realised that I don't have a kind of grungy damask stamp. And I should have one in my collection. I know there are ones out there. So I designed these small solo stamps. I think what I'll do is I'll try and create a really worn single damask that we can use for that, for maybe a later release, maybe later this year, and see what happens. See if people like it. And if people don't like it, at least I've got one in my collection. And that's usually why I decide to create something, because I want one in my collection, which is a good enough reason as any if you've got the opportunity to do so. So let's just add a little bit of that up there. And we've got that, so we'll add a little bit of that down here as well, kind of like a visual triangle. I'm not bothered about getting a perfect impression, which is why I'm just pouncing up and down, but that will do. So maybe a little bit darker for that one, maybe just a wee bit darker. Well, I say darker, I meant lighter. There we go, bit more. Okay, so just put that for cleaning over there. Oh no, I still need that, don't I? The other thing I want to add in is I want to add in some kind of like bubble wrap effects as well. So I've got a bubble wrap stamp, and people often say, well, can you use stamps with paint? Yeah, of course you can. course you can. And they work just as easy. The only thing to remember, if you are going to use paint on a stamp, is to clean it straight away after use, because otherwise it'll just gunk up, and that's no good to anybody. So as soon as you've finished with it, either drop it into some water so that it can't set and dry, or grab a wet wipe and clean it off straight away. Now the perfect thing for cleaning stamps in this way would be an old toothbrush, and an old toothbrush is also probably one of the best ways to clean a stencil if you've been using it with paint as well. Or go out and buy yourself a toothbrush just to use for cleaning, because it's an invaluable piece of kit. All right, that's almost dried on, so we're not going to be able to use that on anything else. All right, so let me get that dried and then I'll be back. All right, so I've grabbed my glue. I'm nearly out of this now. I thought I still had a couple more bottles of this, but I can't seem to find it. Oh, hang on, I think I've just found them. Obviously I didn't look very hard earlier on, did I? Move that out of the way. Yeah, there we are. I knew I had a new one somewhere. I've got two more left. Right, so I've got my collage items that I want to add onto my page now. So I already got them cut out, ready to go. So I found this really nice candle, because we are talking about heat. So a light source, a flame or a fire. So I'm going to put that around about there. And I can always come back in and just add some more damask and bubble wrap over the top, just to kind of blend that in a little bit more, just to layer that in where it is. So I've got that there. Now I wanted to add in also a photo fragment. So I've got one of those photo booth strips. So not a Tim Holtz one, I might add. One from my collection. And I'm gonna, I think I want to add some more of that in the background of the page. So before that dries, let me just come back in with a little bit of distress. Just to grunge it up a little bit. So I want to add a little bit of that towards the top. I'm not bothered about sticking this down perfectly. It doesn't matter if the edges curl up at all. So just so that mirrors the text in the background, where you can still see there. Glue that one down. And then I've got a few little bits of ephemera that I want to add just here. Like a little ticket. Just helps to kind of break everything up. And then I've got this piece here that's got a similar motif to the flowers on there. It all came from the same set. So I'm going to tuck that just underneath there, like so. I'm liking that. And then I've got a little bit of a postcard. Little mini postcard, little carte postale. I'm going to layer just down here too. Stick that on straight. And then just to kind of bring that heart theme in, I've got this little faux fabric heart. So it's like a little piece of heart fabric on a little piece of hessian. It's not real. I did try and find some hessian. I was actually going to cut heart out and then paint a heart on it. And I thought that's going to take forever to do if I tried to do that. So I'm going to lay that down there. Nice. So then I've got one other little piece of ephemera which I'm going to use just to balance up here, because we've got that cluster here. So I think I'm going to balance that out up there. And then I've got my phrase, my quote, which I've created. I've done carry your own light, because it's talking about light, flames, and light and flames and that kind of stuff. But I've also added like a strip of faux stitching, because I had to get it in there somewhere, and I'm not very, very good at stitching myself. But I have got lots of kind of like faux stitching elements that I can add onto the computer. So that's what I've done. Is it cheating? Well, you decide on that one. And I'm going to add that up here and bring that in just up there like that. All right, so I do want to add some darker brown tones. So I think I am going to, I don't know whether to use a stencil or whether to use another stamp. Or should I just come straight in with the distressing now that we're done, and just kind of try and create a little bit of a browny border just with the edge. Yeah, do you know what? I think that's working. Just use the edge to create that kind of brown frame. Because we've got this kind of browny, kind of old papery effect inside the page, creating your frame in a similar way just tones it all together, ages it, create that little bit of a grungy pattern. Do I want to add anything else to that? I think I do. Let me just grab one of those texture pack, stencil packs. Seeing as we're talking about hearts, let's just use that little mini heart one. So this is from Travel Textures 2. So this is the second set, and this little heart one is included in that. You also get the lettering one, you get the sunburst radial one, you get the hexes, you get the Gothic clover, and you get the stars too in that one, along with, of course, the book ring too. So I'm going to add some brown hearts just in there. You can just see them, and there's a section just crying out in there for a few. Maybe just 1 or 2 down there towards the bottom as well. So I think it just kind of helps to bring it all together. There we are. I think I is happy with that. So we've got, let's grab a pen. I always forget. Right, got a pen. So we've got heat and we've got heart. So we've definitely got both those. We've definitely got deep reds in there. We've definitely got hearts. We've definitely got light sources and flames. We've got photo fragments and we've got stitches and faux stitching in there too. So everything that we need on the page to say mission accomplished. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this art journal page today. If you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. I bet you all follow on with that now, don't you? So don't forget, if you want to join us over in the Mission Inspiration Facebook group, do your own version of the page, that's the URL on the screen there, but there will be a clickable link below this video, whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on YouTube, or whether you're watching on my blog. So that's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. And I haven't signed it yet, but I'll do that now. Bye for now. Done.